Hi there, and welcome to the Sunny Days podcast. I'm your host, Jolly, and today we've got a couple of uplifting stories, some happy birthdays, some did you know, and more. So grab a cup of sunshine and let's get started. First up today, a beautiful story about the power of donation in the most life altering way ever. Meet Daryl and John when friends become family. 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, Daryl Smith's life stretched no further than 20 feet, tethered to the dialysis machine that was keeping him alive. There was no staying late at his daughter's dance performances, no mowing the lawn in the cool of the summer evening, no hanging out after dinner with his family. His wife Yolanda said it was like her husband's life was yoked to a 20-foot leash. Enter John. Daryl and John Dorr had been State Police Academy classmates. Over the years, the two would catch up when they ran into each other in the aisles of the local Lowe's shop or stores. When John learned that Daryl needed a kidney, no doubt he knew he needed to help right away. And it was on a spring day when John shared the best news ever. He was a perfect match for Daryl. And when John became Daryl's living donor, he gave more than a kidney to his friend. He gave Daryl those summer evenings. He gave Daryl the dance recitals. He gave him swimming in the pool, backyard cookouts, movie dates with Yolanda. How can you put into words, says Daryl, when someone just saved your life? He's a brother now, he says. He's family. Beautiful story. And our next story, well, we're going to call that All for One and One for All, a story about community unity. In a small farming community in the valley lived a farmer named John, and for years John had toiled tirelessly on his family's farm, cultivating the rich soil that had been passed down through generations. The land was not only his livelihood, but it was also a testament to the deep roots his family had in the community. One fateful day, disaster struck. As John was working in the fields, a sudden storm swept across the valley, bringing with it ferocious winds and torrential rain. The once lush and promising crops were battered and destroyed, leaving John devastated. The storm had not only taken away his livelihood, but it also shattered his spirit. In the aftermath, word spread quickly through the tight knit community about John's misfortune. Neighbors who had themselves weathered their own fair share of hardships felt compelled to come to his aid. They gathered at John's farm, offering words of comfort and solidarity. Among them, Sarah, a fellow farmer who was had seen her own challenges in the past. She helped organize meetings with other neighbors, and soon a plan was in motion to help John salvage what was left of his crop and bring it to market. The community spirit was palpable as friends and neighbors, young and old, rallied together to support their fellow farmer. Despite his injuries sustained during the storm, John was determined to contribute whatever it was he could. With the help of crutches, he slowly made his way through the fields, offering guidance and encouragement to the volunteers who had come to lend a hand. The fields, once a scene of devastation, now echoed the sounds of teamwork and resilience. Days turned into weeks, and the community worked tirelessly to salvage the remaining crops. The once dreary fields started to show signs of life as the community collectively breathed new hope into the land. The sense of camaraderie among the neighbors was as nourishing to the soul as the rain that had battered the fields. As the day of market approached, the community came together and once again, this time to transport the harvested crops. They filled trucks with fresh produce, lined up ready to make the journey to the market, where John had sold his crop for years. When they arrived at the market, John was overwhelmed by the support he received. The townsfolk, hearing of his story, flocked to his stand, eager to purchase the fruits from the community's labor. The market was abuzz with activity as the once destroyed crops found new homes, a testament again to the strength that comes from unity and compassion. The outpouring of support didn't stop there. The community organized a small celebration to honor John and his neighbors. As they gathered in the town square, surrounded by the bounty of their hard work, speeches were made and gratitude was expressed. John, deeply moved, could hardly find the words to convey the depth of his appreciation. In the face of adversity, the Valley's community had turned tragedy into triumph. Their collective effort not only helped John recover from the devastating setback, but also strengthened the bonds that held the community together. From that day forward, the story of how a farmer and his neighbors overcame hardship became a cherished tale and a reminder that in the valley, the roots of compassion ran just as deep as the roots of all those crops. And now a star themed Sunny Days happy birthday shout out. This week, or actually a couple of weeks ago, Nicolas Cage's birthday was on Sunday, January the 7th. Happy birthday, Nicolas Cage. From action packed adventures to unforgettable performances, your cinematic journey has been as wild and wonderful as a national treasure hunt. Hoping your day was filled with joy, love, laughter, and maybe a few cageisms. Cheers to another year of fantastic films and endless excitement. Happy birthday, Mr. Cage. You're a true treasure in the world of entertainment. And also to Miss Mary J. Blige. Her birthday was Thursday, January the 11th. Happy birthday, Miss Mary. Your voice has been the soundtrack of our lives, blending strength and soul. Here's to the queen of hip hop soul, an icon who's touched our hearts with every note. We hope your day was as fabulous and as fierce as your performances. Happy birthday to you. Keep shining and inspiring all of us. And a true giant Sunny Days happy birthday, Mr. Martin Luther King. He was born January the 15th. We not only commemorate his birthday this year, but we also reflect on the profound impact he had on the course of history. Dr. King, a beacon of hope and a tireless advocate for justice, dedicated his life to the pursuit of equality and civil rights. His eloquent words, like a symphony of change, resonated across the nation, inspiring millions to stand up against injustice. As we celebrate his birthday, let us remember the man who dared to dream of a world where people are judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This year, on his birthday, let us not only remember Dr. King's accomplishments, but also rekindle the flame of his vision within ourselves. Let's strive to be advocates for justice, to be beacons of hope, and to be champions of equality in all of our communities. And now, how about some fun facts? Did you know? Did you know 3 presidents, all founding fathers, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, died on July the 4th? Presidents Adams and Jefferson also died the same year, 1826. President Monroe died in 1831. Coincidence? You decide. And how about some news about Barbie? The Barbie doll had a full name. Her name was Barbara Millicent Roberts from Willows, Wisconsin. Her birthday is March the 9th, 1959, and she was first displayed at the New York Toy Fair. Boy, I didn't know any of that. And how about this? There actually aren't 57 varieties of Heinz ketchup. And there never was. The company founder, H.J. Heinz, thought his product should have a number, and he liked the number 57. Hint, hit the glass bottle on the 57, not the bottom, to get the ketchup to flow. Here's another did you know? Sliced bread was first manufactured by machine and sold in the 1920s by the Chillicothe Baking Company in Missouri. It was the greatest thing since unsliced bread. And did you know the Earl of Sandwich, John Montagu, who lived in the 1700s, reportedly invented a sandwich so he wouldn't have to leave his gambling table to eat? Now that sounds like a real gambler. And did you know that the Four Corners is the only spot in the U.S. where you can stand in 4 states all at one time? Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And our last fun fact, one of the most famous movie lines in history was never really said. We often quote, "Play it again, Sam," from Casablanca. But the real line is, "Play it, Sam. Play as time goes by." And there's some fun facts for you. And now some entertainment news. In the movie world, coming out Monday, February the 19th this year, Sesame Street, a musical inspired by the Sesame Street theme. Basically, the lead characters get lost in New York City and try to find their way back to Sesame Street. And coming out in March 22nd, as a matter of fact, Luca, it's a re-release. Set in the beautiful seaside town of an Italian Riviera, the original animated feature is coming out of age story about one boy experiencing an unforgettable summer filled with gelato, pasta, and endless scooter rides. Luca shares these adventures with his newfound best friend, and all the fun is threatened by a deeply held secret. He's a sea monster from another world, just below the water's surface. And coming out Friday, July 19th this year, for those older and younger Twister fans, the daughter of Joe, who's played by Helen Hunt, and Bill, who is played by Bill Baxter, characters catches the bug to chase big storms. Oh, that ought to be good. Really looking forward to seeing that one. And now a little news from the music world. Some more artists and bands that are set to tour in 2024. Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw's Standing Room Only tour will kick off February the 3rd in Thackerville, Oklahoma, and continue until June 29th when it will wrap up in Sacramento, California. Shania Twain will be on the road. Man, I feel like a concert. If that's something you've been thinking, consider checking out one of Shania Twain's 24 Vegas shows. And Mr. Blake Shelton, no longer beholden to his schedule at The Voice, Blake Shelton is a touring man with dates in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, and more. And here's some bands that are touring. The Eagles are setting off for their tour with Steely Dan in January of 2024. The shows, which are only in the United States, will wrap up May this year when the band hits Chicago. And Red Hot Chili Peppers begins their North American tour in February in Lincoln, California. Show dates include stops in Tempe, Arizona, Salt Lake City, Utah, Toronto, Canada, and more before they finish off in Maryland Heights, Missouri. And our last band to mention is Styx. Styx will embark on a massive 66-date tour in the United States. It started this past the 5th of this month. The band will hit Las Vegas, Grand Rapids, Dallas, and more. And as we come to a close of today's episode, let's remember that goodness surrounds us every day. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So find your beauty, shine, and share it. Remember to spread love, joy, and positivity whenever and wherever you go. See you next week for more stories, entertainment news, fun facts, and more. Until then, peace and love always. Thank you for tuning in to the Sunny Days podcast at jollyville.com. That's JALEAVILLE.com, where you'll also find not only our Sunny Days podcast, but our online jewelry store, The Joy of Jewelry. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.